welcome to our your third session, and I hope your day's going well. My name is Patricia Swartz. I'm with Middle Georgia RESA, or GLRS. I have worked with schools for the last 4 years with the Georgia SPDIG and love it. And a lot of my schools are in this area of cognitive engagement that we'll be talking to you about in this session. Now, we want to be here to help you. We want to help you close that gap, okay? You may not choose this area when you start doing your data. You may decide this isn't for you, but we hope today, after listening to this, you at least see how this particular area works with all the other pieces. We're going to start with our learning targets. Here are the three that we're going to be going through today. The first one is, what is cognitive engagement? Why do students need to be engaged in this area? The second one, what happens when they are cognitively engaged? And as a result, what happens to their learning, their self-esteem, and their self-determination? And then the third bullet is, what is self-efficacy and self-determination, and how do we teach these skills to our students? As I said, we are a part of the puzzle. If you have looked at your implementation manual, you saw, or even in the first session you had today, not session, but the big whole group thing, you know, Ms. Laura Brown showed you the ABC, that circle thing that we go on. Okay, that's kind of what this is about, because the whole thing is about student success. But we are a piece of that puzzle. As I said, you've got your cognitive, your academic, affective, and behavioral, but the cognitive is the hardest one to talk about because it's hard to measure. You can, but it's very difficult. It's also the one that is most neglected. We can measure behavior by the number of ISS and OSSs at your school. You can measure attendance. You can measure your academic by the failures in the classroom. But how do you measure cognitive engagement and see if what you're doing is improving that? That's what we want to look at today. But before we start with those strategies, we want to talk about what is cognitive engagement, what is the definition, and make sure we're all on the same page first, okay? So for about 30 seconds, I want you to think quickly about your definition of cognitive engagement, and then I want you to talk about it at your table. Be ready to give me some responses. Okay, go. What is cognitive engagement? We tried to put it down into some simple forms. We got 6 bullets here. Let's kind of look at those and see what's involved. The first one, being able to use effective learning strategies. That is, do they know how to learn? You go, well, yeah, no. Some of them may not know. Do they have the skills and the strategies necessary to take a test? You say you're going to give a test next week. Do they know how to highlight the important points of the test that out of the book that they're going to be tested on? Do they have the necessary skills to do note-taking? It's all that processing that's going on here to get to the final objective, taking that test. And some of these things, they do come to the classroom teacher without knowing how to do. And the thing is teachers will often go or assume that they already know these things, and they just, all of them don't. So we do need to work in that area. The next one is the investment in learning goals, and intrinsic motivation. An investment. Well, how will they be invested? Only if they see the relevance. If it's not it won't be interesting to them. if they don't see the relevance in how it's going to affect their future. Why are they doing this algebra? They've got to have some relevance. The intrinsic motivation, well, we start with that extrinsic. That's okay for a while, but they got to be weaned away from that candy and stickers and smiley faces and things like that. So you've got to get them to that point where they can say, I want to do this because this will help me meet my goal, something that I'm interested in doing. And so we've got to get them to that area. Then self-regulation and self-efficacy. Miss Emma is going to talk about that in a little bit in quite some detail. I will skip that for the sake of time. Self-determination, that is where students say that they can do something. They become able to set goals. They learn how to make choices, how to problem solve, how to communicate, all things that will help them get a job in the future, or go for that interview and speak up for themselves if they need help at a college level. Students with disabilities must be able to go in there and tell them what they need. Parents can't do it for them. So they've got to become their own self-advocates, become self-determined. And then the last part is the belief, we thought this kind of summed it up, the belief that I want to, I can, and I belong. Individual beliefs about competency and control is the I can part. They're in control, I'm competent, I can do this. And then on the I want to, that's your values and your goals. I want to do this because it's of value to me, okay? And I belong, that sense of belonging, I do belong here, this is something I need to do. If we get the kids engaged in all of these areas, the cognitive engagement area, they will become more successful than what you are seeing now. On this one, I kind of use this to show an analogy, but you can refer back still to that ABC circle that we looked at earlier. I look at cognitive engagement as being the foundation of a house, like a house. Without that foundation, everything else crumbles. Because if a child does not want to learn, and there's students like this in the classroom, they don't care about being in there, they don't want to be in there, they are bored, they give you all kinds of reasons. Teachers say, I can't do anything about it. But if they get some of these skills and strategies, then they will get to that point where they will sit in that house and sit in that classroom and learn. But if that cognitive engagement is gone, then all the others are going to crumble. Their grades are going to fall. Academic. Attendance may drop because they're bored. They don't want to be there. Okay? Behavior may worsen. They don't want to be there. They get in trouble. So it's kind of like we need to wrap these students up with all of the other pieces with cognitive engagement.